Hey everyone, Howley here at High Octane Cards with a quick recap of Sunday's race at Kansas. Of course, Anheuser-Busch had a contest to name the race, and it was voted to become the Buschy McBusch Race 400, be that as it may. Um, Ironically, Kyle Busch won the race, and a Busch-sponsored car was in second place with Kevin Harvick. So your top 10, we'll give you the top 10 real quick, which was Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Matt DiBenedetto, and Chase Elliott was your top 5, 6 through 10. Martin Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, William Byron, and Austin Dillon. A few notables, Daniel Suarez was an 11th place finish, a very strong run for him. Kyle Larson dominated the race, came home 19th, and Austin Cindric, I felt, finished a very impressive 22nd after starting 38th. The average speed of the race was 129.647 miles an hour. There were 7 caution flags for 36 laps. Mind you, 2 of those were stage breaks, and 1 of those was a competition caution. Margin of victory was 0.336 seconds, and there were 18 lead changes among 6 drivers. And the lap leaders there, Kyle Larson led the most at 132, Brad Keselowski led 72, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. led 23. Most of those coming from the fact that he was leading during pit stop cycles and was staying out, trying to hope to catch a caution or whatever, which we'll talk about that in just a second. Looking at the points right now, we have 10 winners now. So there's 10 winners out of the 16 spots, and we still have, 15 races left till the cutoff. So there's opportunity that some of these winners could be bumped out, which would be a first during the playoff format. But the current top 10 seeding for the points, if they started the chase tomorrow, or the playoffs tomorrow, still call it the chase, sorry about that. Martin Truex Jr., obviously, no, I'm sure Hamlin would be leading because he'd get those 15 points for being the regular season champion. But this is just going off racing reference, and it kind of gives you a guideline or a baseline which to go from. Martin Truex Jr. is seated number 1 right now, followed by William Byron, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Brad Keselowski. 6 through 10 would be Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, who finally won his first race of the season this year. We didn't mention that fact, and it ties him with Kevin Harvick at 58 career wins. So let's go ahead and slide by that. 8th place would be Christopher Bell, Michael McDowell would be 9th, and Alex Bowman would be 10th as of right now. 4 drivers that have not won a race yet this year, I should say. Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott. 3 of those fall into that 11 through 16 spot, and Kurt Busch right now is currently 17th in points, 12 points behind Matt DiBenedetto, who just slid into that 16th spot with that awesome 4th place run that he put together this weekend. I'm gonna look at my picks that I had this weekend. Of course, I did this in the preview video. I always pick 4 favorites, 4 dark horses, and 4 long shots. I had Harvick. These are my 4 favorites. I had Harvick. He ended up 2nd. Brad K ended up 3rd. MTJ was 6th. And Denny Hamlin was 12th. Not too bad there. My dark horse category kind of fell off a little bit here. Reddick was 7th and Dillon was 10th. Those 2 were good. Eric Almirola continued his horrible 2021 season with a 29th place finish. Christopher Bell was running in the top 10 when he spun late and ended up 28th. My long shots, 3 out of the 4 did pretty good. Matty D was 4th. Logano was 17th. Like we talked about, even though he had a couple wins there, he only had 9 top 10s in 23 races, so now he's 9 top 10s in 24 races, so that average kind of comes down. Daniel Suarez, who had 1 top 10 in 8 races, came home 11th, just outside of that, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who was 0 for 16, continued that trend with a 34th place finish. Strangely enough, the only 2 cars that didn't finish this race were the 2 JTG Doherty cars that were taken out in the same wreck. Christopher Bell got loose in turn 4. If you watch the replays, he just kind of bobbled. He almost had it saved, and the car took a set to the left. And when he did, he came down right in front of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who hit him in the left front and sent him right back up the track and right into his teammate, Ryan Preece. So anyway, took the 2 JTG Doherty cars out, so tough break for them. I haven't done enough research on this, but I think this race may have been the race with the whole field completing the highest percentage of laps. I think it was Josh Bilicki was 17 laps down at the finish, so for a last place finisher, that's pretty impressive. And I reached out to Brock Beard. Some of you guys probably see him on Twitter or wherever. He's has a whole website dedicated to last place finishers in racing, or in NASCAR in particular. He wasn't sure about it, but he thought that if it wasn't, that it would probably be way up there. Excuse me. Um, anyway, one final note here. Talked about cautions. There were 7 cautions. Caution number 4, because you had a competition caution, your 2 stage breaks, and the 4th caution came out on lap 231 when a tire rolled across pit road. I can't remember the team right offhand because that's not really relative to the story or the situation at hand, but it happened during green flag pit stops. A tire sat, they would not let a crewman go retrieve it, of course, safety issues here. The tire sat there for about 20 laps, and NASCAR didn't throw a caution. They waited till the entire field cycled through, and then they threw the caution. Bad call, NASCAR. Very bad call. I was at the Brickyard 400 in 1996. You did the same thing. Ward Burton ran out of gas during pit stop cycles, sat in the pit access lane in turn 3 for 10 laps so that all the leaders could come around and make their pit stops. And Ward lost 10 laps just because you didn't want to throw a caution flag when there needed to be one right then. Any other time of the race, no pit stops going on, that yellow flag's out right now. So NASCAR, you need to become more consistent with your calls. Yes, it would have been bad if some people lost a lap, but maybe they should have stayed out and stretched their fuel. You know, if it's an accident that happens on track, yeah, you got that yellow right now. You could have sent an official right across the pit road, which was still 50 or 60 feet from the racing surface, brought that tire back, and not even made a caution. But for some reason, NASCAR, I don't know what you're doing here. Bad decision. You should have put the yellow flag out right when the yellow happened, and none of this. You wouldn't be hearing about it. You'd be hearing more about, oh, well, NASCAR wanted to put this guy a lap down or whatever. I don't think that was the right call, NASCAR. I think you dropped the ball big time on that one. But overall, as a race, it was a C plus of a race. You always remember the finish of the race when it's somewhat exciting like this one was. You had a lot of drama, cars running 3 and 4 wide for the whole lap. People were comparing it to a Daytona or Talladega race, where if you got off the throttle, you just lost all your momentum. That's kind of one of the things that happened to several people there at the very end. If you've seen cars falling back, they just had to get off the gas for whatever reason. The race itself, again, I think it was a C plus race. Nothing spectacular stood out of it, to me anyway, other than the tire debacle that NASCAR created. But outside of that, just an average race. It was a Kansas race. It was a 1.5-mile race. You know, nothing. Just a plain Jane race, if that's what you want to call it. Congratulations to Kyle Busch getting his first win of the year. I know there's a lot of Kyle Busch haters out there. Personally, myself, I was not a Jimmy Johnson fan, and he won a lot. So I think you got Kyle Busch, you got Kevin Harvick, you got a couple guys, especially Harvick in the twilight of his career. You're going to see those guys. I think Kyle Busch will easily get into the 70 win category, maybe 80 wins for his career. Harvick, he'll probably just get somewhere about 64, 65, and then he'll call it a day. But as a race, again, let's get back to that. I think the race just, it wasn't that exciting of one. It has a few moments, especially on restarts. You're always going to have that at these tracks where the restarts are really the most exciting part of the race. Not a lot of drama, not a lot of excitement, but I don't like it when it's manufactured. So NASCAR, be consistent with your rules. That's all the fans want. Be consistent with your rules. Be consistent with your calls. You know, so what if half the top dogs get a lap down? You know, they'll have to fight to get it back. There was a wave. They could have got the wave around on the caution, and you knew that's what they would have done, and they would have been right back up to the front. I think you dropped the ball on this one. Kind of like you did at Daytona when there was debris all over turn 1, and it took, I think it was William Byron ran over. No, it was, maybe it was Quinn Half. I can't remember, but somebody dropped debris all over the track. Somebody else ran over it and caused a wreck. So again, this was the second major dropped ball of the year for you, NASCAR. Hopefully you'll get it straightened up. But anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching. Not sure what we're going to do later today for our regular video, but I wanted to get this one out and about just because I'm running behind. But thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your Monday, Tuesday, whatever day you see this. Enjoy your day.